Go.
I'm gonna pin.
Are you recording too? Y'all recording?
Yes. All right, the time now is 5:09. I would like to officially start our first hybrid community input meeting. Thank you for all of those who are joining us. Thank you for those I see in person in front of me, and thank you for those who are online. My name is Ayabami Bell Torrance, and I am the outreach manager for DDOT. I will be turning it over to our interim director shortly, but I want to first start off with a few reminders. Permission to record. By participating in this meeting, whether in person or virtual, you are granting permission for your name, your image, likeness, as well as audio and video recordings to be used by DDOT. To raise your hand during the public comment period in person, you will simply raise your hand and we will acknowledge you to speak. Following our in-person comments, we will address all virtual hands that are raised.
Yeah. Okay.
If you are using the dial-in only phone option online, you just enter *9 during that time. That will raise your hand raise feature. And to request to speak or ask a question. And of course, during the virtual chat will be open for public comments. You'll be able to submit questions or comments to DDOT staff, and we just ask that no foul language be tolerated, no personal text. I'd like to turn it out over to Mr. Taylor.
Thank you, Ms. Torrance. Let me repeat the welcome to everybody who's here in person and everybody who's joining us virtually. We did say that we would attempt to do, DDOT did say that we would attempt to do a hybrid meeting before the end of the year. So with a lot of work from marketing and outreach, media services, we were able to make this happen tonight on November 21st. So the focus of tonight's meeting is going to be the passenger code of conduct. I know this has been a work in progress for some time, probably over a year and maybe even a longer period of time than that. But we would like to take everybody through the highlights and then be able to open it up for questions, not only on the passenger code of conduct, but anything else that may currently be on your mind. So just a little bit of background and context. Chapter 47 of the 2019 Detroit City Code entitled Transportation for Hire, Article 2 buses, Division 2 city buses, is going to be amended by adding section 47-2-15 prohibited conduct subject to removal policy, promulgation of rules, and this will provide a code of conduct that will promote a more efficient management and operation of city buses. City of Detroit Department of Transportation has a mission focused on providing safe, reliable, customer-oriented, cost-effective service to residents of Detroit and the surrounding community. This passenger code of conduct has been created as a list of expectations that will apply to all customers that use our services or facilities. The purpose of this policy is to, number one, promote the safety and comfort of our riders, to protect transit facilities and employees, to facilitate the proper use of transit facilities and services, and to assure the payment of fares, and to ensure that DDOT vehicles and facilities are safe, welcoming, and provide equitable access to all DDOT passengers. Overview and definition. No individual may engage in inappropriate conduct on, at, or in the facilities of DDOT, including at transfer points, in shelters, at bus stops, and at administrative, operational, and maintenance facilities, or on buses used to provide DDOT fixed route or paratransit services. Some of the definitions. What's inappropriate conduct? Any disruptive, disorderly, or harmful behavior at DDOT facilities or on transit vehicles is strictly prohibited. DDOT facilities, all property and equipment used by DDOT, including public and non-public areas, bus shelters, bus stops, transfer points, and administrative, operational, and maintenance facilities. What's a public area? Those portions of facilities that are open for public use for transit or transit-related purposes. And then finally, transit services, fixed route bus service, and complimentary paratransit service.
I understand it.
We recognize the need to differentiate between various types of events. So there are two levels of what's deemed inappropriate conduct. Level one, less severe, includes behaviors such as fare evasion, remaining on the bus beyond the final stop, smoking, vaping, consuming alcohol, interfering with the bus operator, consuming food or drink, and playing loud music without earphones. Secondly, passengers engaging in level one conduct will receive a first warning from the bus operator and may be asked to leave the bus or facility. Repeated infractions may result in exclusion from DDOT services. And then level two inappropriate conduct, the more severe variety, includes more severe behaviors such as fighting, assault, carrying dangerous items, disruptive or threatening behavior, using counterfeit fare media, vandalism, indecent exposure, and sexual harassment. Passengers engaging in level two conduct that compromises the health, safety, or welfare of the public may be immediately excluded from DDOT services and subject to legal action. So the procedure for transit exclusion: when repeated incidents or serious inappropriate conduct are identified, the Deputy Director of Operations or the duly assigned designee will issue a written exclusion letter to the individual involved. The exclusion letter will state the reasons, duration, and conditions of the exclusion and provide information on the right to appeal the decision. Relevant staff and law enforcement will be informed of the exclusion. It was important to have an appeal procedure. So that's outlined in the Passenger Code of Conduct. Individuals who are subject to an exclusion order can appeal in writing to the Office of the Deputy Director of Operations or the duly assigned designee within 10 days. The Exclusion Appeals Board shall consist of the DDOT Chief Safety Officer or designee, Chief of Detroit Police Transit Unit or designated law enforcement agency, one member from the City of Detroit Law Department, and 2 citizen members from the appellant's district selected by City Council. A review of the appeal and hearing will be conducted within 30 days. The board will issue a written decision within 30 days of the hearing, which may affirm, reverse, or remand the exclusion order. Non-compliance with the exclusion order. Individuals who violate an exclusion order will be advised by DDOT staff that they cannot board the bus. If they proceed to board the bus, the DPD transit unit will respond to remove them as needed. DPD will connect individuals with their mental health or homelessness teams for connection to their resources as needed. It should be stipulated that this Passenger Code of Conduct establishes clear guidelines and procedures to ensure the safety and security of all DDOT passengers and employees. By implementing and enforcing these standards, DDOT aims to maintain a safe, respectful, and efficient public transit system for the community. It should be noted, the law regulating whether and under what circumstances a person may hand out bus tickets is found in section 47-2-12 and is unchanged by this proposed ordinance. This ordinance does not change the language in section 47-2-12. However, DDOT's current practice, based on its interpretation of the current and unchanged language, is that they do not issue any form of violation for people who buy bus tickets specifically to hand out to other people. The regulation in section 47-2-12 is intended to address fare evasion, not charitable acts. I would be remiss if I did not mention that this week we heard loud and clear from any number of entities and individuals about Section 28. The decision was made that Section 28 will be removed. So it will not appear as we take the amendment forward. So with that, thank you very much. I'm going to ask Deputy Director of Administration, Jenny Whitfield, just to describe very briefly where we go from here on the next steps.
Hi, good evening, everybody. How are you? I'm glad that you heard the good news. We appreciate all of you coming out. Oh, sorry, let me move over here. So number one, the next thing that's gonna happen is this is gonna need to go to committee. As we discussed, it'll probably be public health and safety, which is Monday at 10, in which we'll be able to talk through some of the concerns. It'll be a public hearing. We do want you to show your support. This is a very important ordinance amendment. As you know, we wanna make sure that we're keeping our TEOs and our passengers and all of you that show up daily and are on the ground safe. And so that will go to committee. After that, it will be voted on by the committee members, and then we'll go to the whole for a full vote. And then at that point, if it's approved, we are going to try to ask for approval and a waiver. It will go into effect as of that day. And then at that point, the next steps will be actually rolling out through marketing and outreach and talking with you in the community to show the full policy, making sure that it's loud and clear across the board, making sure that our channels are available and that our other passengers are fully aware. Sound good? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Whitfield. And with that, I think we're opening it up for Q&A.
I think what we'll do is we're definitely gonna do in-person first, so virtual standby. Let's just do it by rows. I think it'll be easier. And then we are, so let's start here. First. Yes, please.
Is it on? Turn it on.
That's the mic for you. This.
Okay. Larry Allen Burns, citizen of Detroit, activist in Detroit People's Platform, Transit Justice Team, and we'll skip that. I'm delighted to hear that Section 28 will be removed. However, I do have a question. One, will it be replaced with something else? And B, where can we access a total copy of what's going to be presented before it gets there, so we do not have to go by hearsay or guesswork when we go to the hearing? That's all I have.
We have something with
Turn mic on.
Turn it on. Turn it on. Gotta turn it on.
okay, can you guys hear me?
No, we live. You have to talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
It says it's on. Is it on?
Yes, keep talking.
Is it on? Okay. So, great question. What we're gonna do, the copy that you have seen is what is going to go in with only that section removed. Councilmember Benson, who's taking charge of making sure this gets to the finish line, will have it removed at the table for committee. So you guys will see that being acknowledged at that time. Everything else as is that you have seen is what will be there. And so we want to do that there so you guys know we're being transparent and clear and nothing else is being added in.
Leave that on.
Leave it up.
How y'all doing? Everybody who enjoyed the pizza today, try to get y'all to come upstairs. I don't know how many people enjoyed it, but I did it for the kindness of my heart, to get y'all to come upstairs. Some new voices. Sometimes people get tired of hearing the same old people. I've been doing this a decade, so I'm the same old people, get bored of that. So it's good to hear some new voices to speak up on any issue you have with the Detroit Department of Transportation. I'm glad that you listened. It was automatic unity when we heard the Section 28, and everybody, they had to break it down for me, tell me on the phone, sent a text for me. I said, what does that mean? And they broke it all the way down for me. We all were in unity that part needed to be removed. Even for a lay person like myself, I felt that part had to go. It felt like it was attacking me because been doing charitable stuff for many, many years. And I want to continue to do that. Everybody else get paid for what they do. I do this because I love people. And I shouldn't be attacked for it. And I felt like it was an attack. Section 28. I'm enthused, and I want to thank you, Mr. Staley. I want to thank everybody that was involved in removing that and having that removed from the policy. That was my biggest thing. And if anybody in the house, you know me, I have low-income housing lists, and I have a bunch of gloves to give out. If you reach out to me, I'll give you some gloves. I ran out of bus tickets and I ran out of hand warmers, but I was able to feed y'all. And if everybody needs a low-income housing list and some free gloves, holler at me. 313-444-9114, 313-444-9114, 213-444-9114. That number was made so you can remember it. And thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Janine.
So thank you again. And on that note, we just wanted to make sure we addressed your question and also helped. As you know, as we all know, you are very charitable, and you've mentioned these hand warmers a lot, and we didn't want any trouble. So we made sure that we did put it in. We have an order coming for you. Kyle found some that are reusable, which hopefully will help, especially as we're getting cold. And I do want to say a special thank you to Director Staley because he went out of his pocket last year to get that. Yes, and so we're gonna make sure, because you guys are important to us and you are our community, that we'll try to make sure this is a yearly thing if we can, and we will communicate with you guys as much as possible. So thank you.
Good evening, Robert Plowski. I'm a transit advocate here in our region, and I'm a longtime bus rider. I want to hear my comments. This is the last meeting of the year to say thank you. We've had a lot of progress over this year with the improvements in bus service, improvement of shelters, passing a decent budget with city council and our mayor's office, and most of all, the opening of a brand new transit center, Jason Hargrove. It was honestly a pleasure to see a new piece of history open up here in our city and watching all of us transit advocates take in history and watching history unfold and going into the future. But most of all, as you know, this ordinance was one of the biggest things to wrap up the year. I'm very glad that Section 28 is gone because, as I said before, it did violate our First Amendment rights. But most of all, DDOT is on our side. They're listening. They're taking us in consideration and how we use transit service every day. So to the staff, thank you for all your amazing work. Mr. Staley, thank you. It was really a blessing to hear that. It made my heart drop when I heard it. Most of all, we have had so many accomplishments with the brand new opening of a transit center and the amazing investments we've had working with the federal government, working with the local government, and also our state government. We have more work that needs to be done. Going into 2025, I look forward to seeing the progress going forward, seeing the improvements on DDOT Reimagined, seeing it be introduced, seeing hopefully more funding coming to DDOT. We're just getting started, but we're going strong. Born a transit rider, I will die a transit rider. Thank you so much.
Yes, everybody know me. I'm Rochelle Stewart for People's Platform. Thank you, Director Staley. You know how wonderful that makes us feel to know that you listen to us. But number one, I know you know that we're not violent, we're not disruptive, we're peaceful when we come in and say what we say now. We're peaceful with it. One thing I do want to know about, do we still have enough ARPA money to fund DDOT Reimagined? How far along are we so far? You know, we're gonna do something with the transit center, get some place in here for people to maybe get some chips or something while they're standing out there. Maybe stay open a little bit longer too. But I really want to thank you for this. And please, we got to get a little better than that 67, 68% on time. You can say something about it. Hopefully in January 2025, with the changes, we'll get there. Because I'm so history, listening to people talk about kids getting home late, not getting to school on time, people losing their jobs. We have to do better for our central riders in the city of Detroit. Thank you, I thank you, I thank you.
How everybody doing today? My name is Marcus Richardson. I've been riding the bus basically my whole life, but I mean, from time to time, I have had a car. Last 6 months, I've been riding the bus lately. Things I've noticed is cleanliness on the bus, not all the way up the park, but I remember when COVID was around, they had guys cleaning the buses at the stops. That would be a big help. I mean, if y'all could bring that back. I don't know what y'all budget is or anything, but cleanliness is on the bus is like maybe top of the line thing that I see that y'all can do. But all around, y'all doing a good job. You know, as far as the bus services, the TEO drivers, they're pretty good. So that's all I would have to say. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Julie Joy, Interim Assistant Director of Maintenance. Thanks for bringing that up. So we currently have a bus cleaning program that's conducting every 30 days for a deep cleaning that takes 2 to 2.5 hours. Take all the seats off and do a deep cleaning. And we do a regular cleanup, a quick cleanup on a daily basis as part of our services. And to make it more proactive, we started adding the photos to all the cleanup once it's been completed. And we have some staffing levels that we are currently working on. Once we have more staffing levels, we will see more improvement. Thank you. Thank you for the question. Yes. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Patty Fedewa, a common transit activist. I just wanted to note that thank you very much for removing section 28. That is huge. However, I would note that sections 11 and 12 refer to such statements as solicitation, harassment, and disruption that are not defined and could easily be interpreted in an overbroad manner and thus be subject to covering up or preventing people from using their First Amendment rights. So I still have a problem with that. And if those could be defined, I think we might be on our way. And thank you for putting in a code of conduct. I'm very much supportive of that. However, I just wanted to note some stuff on service in the future. I mean, transit centers are great, service is better. You know, who needs a great spot to wait when you really want to be on a bus moving? So that's what I would like to see us do. I'm going to be able to travel out of state for the next week or so. And I know wherever I go, the transit's going to be better. I don't think that's anybody's fault here. It's because we have a mayor that has a lack of vision, but we need better. There's no reason DDOT Reimagine should not have been approved already and budgeted. I think it's because the mayor's dragging his feet, but somebody please tell me I'm wrong. And if you want to help with the timeliness, part of the issue is buses frequently leave here late. I can tell you if I'm waiting at the Coleman Young Center, it's, you know, you look at what time it's coming and it tells you, then it keeps getting later and later and later. And that might be a relatively easy way of moving stuff through when a bus is here and it's late. And so, but I appreciate everybody working so hard, and I think it.
Hi, my name is Andre. I'm part of the Gordon family. I've been riding the bus lately for about 2.5 years. Off and on, I've been discovering the ADA area is very mixed up with the understanding of who sit there, when they sit there, and I like to present something that's on camera. Now, when you get an application and you get it signed by a doctor or the awareness of the people that want to check in to see you have a card like this presented. It says DDOT reduced fare ID pass, and it's supposed to have your name, and it's supposed to accommodate that you're supposed to be a disabled person. So when you show these to the drivers, my question is, why do they give you back talk? Why do they don't understand the rules, the constellation? or the presentation of your ID, because when you use a card or when you paying a fare, they don't really interact when you tell them that you need an area space that you're supposed to sit at. That's supposed to be guaranteed for disabled people under the ADA for the public transportation. So that's my question.
No, on the ADA piece of what we do in training.
Microphone.
Or you need a mic.
So Corey Helms, Chief Safety Officer at DDOT. We currently, as a part of the training program, we teach our recruits that they are to not argue about the fare. If someone presents that ID, they're to let you get on freely. So if you have any names, please provide them to us so we can follow.
My name's Rebecca Fritz. I came here hearing about, I'm assuming this is the section 28, but any section in any law regarding DDOT that has anything pertaining to the right to protest or do exactly what it is that the woman that the transit is named after. If it has anything to do with that, then I do have an issue with it. And I'm gonna read this exactly as I wrote it earlier before this announcement was made, because I feel it's that important. And it's that important to honor Rosa Parks' name and her legacy in this transit center and on every single bus that ever runs in the city of Detroit or anywhere in the United States. I'm at the Rosa Parks Transit Center. On the right here, I found myself disturbed by the fact that Rosa Parks risked her life for equality and human rights to not only ride a bus and ride anywhere on the bus that she wanted to, but also as a legend for her risk of protesting on a bus. And I feel it's highly dishonorable that we are faced with losing our constitutional right to protest on the bus line or in a building bearing her namesake. It is egregious, and she's rolling over in her grave right now. The powers that be are actively destroying her legacy, and I am disgusted. I can promise you, if a law prohibiting exactly what this transit center and 12th Street was meant to stand for and who it was meant to stand for is put into effect, I am prepared to personally pitch a tent in honor of Rosa Parks and her legacy, God rest her soul, to defend not only her honor, but the livelihood of all Detroit citizens struggling at this time for a fair and equal opportunity to have a voice in a transit necessity that every day can make or break their life. I also ask that you continue to honor Cunningham and his efforts fully and completely in his worthy crusade. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Whitney Clark. I just had a question about what the thought process is going into the closures of this center. Yesterday I was here, I believe it was 3 o'clock. It was raining. It was very cold. And everyone in the center was abruptly put out onto the street. I'm sure there's a reason for that. So I'm just curious as to why, in this environment, if we are all on the same page about the importance of the constituents, quite frankly, that are using this service, why we would put them out on the street on a regular business day. I'm sure there's a reason for that. So I guess I'm just coming to ask that. And I also just want to say to those individuals who are continuing to say that people are dragging their feet, I respectfully submit to the constituents in this room that we're the ones dragging our feet. We have an election coming up at the end of this year. Now is our time and our opportunity to organize, and we have an opportunity to reach out to individuals like Cunningham, get more information on him, encourage him to see if he would like to run for office, because we all know that what these people are, the activists that have been in our community for years, we know who they are, and we have a good idea of what they will do if they are given the power. So again, I just submit a suggestion that we stop asking people to see us as human, because what happened yesterday
to those people waiting on transit was inhumane. To put those people out there in that fashion, there better be a good reason for something like that. And so again, are we going to continue to ask these people to see us as human, or are we going to begin to organize and vote for people that will release the ARPA money and do the things that we're supposed to do?
Yeah, real quick, I did want to respond to the specific situation yesterday. So I think it was in the same time frame you're referring to, but we did have an altercation among a number of individuals. And so it was perceived as a threat to the ridership in general. And so Rosa Parks was cleared and was shut down for approximately 30 minutes yesterday afternoon. So again, if there's a perceived threat to the well-being of the ridership or the TEOs who are coming inside Rosa Parks, we do reserve the right to temporarily shut down the facility to promote public health and safety. Oh yeah, admittedly it was abrupt because the situation jumped off without any kind of prior warning. So we did have a service inspector on site. They reached out to DPD to make sure that everybody was protected, and there was an advisory that was sent out internally indicating that that was the situation, and also advising the period of time within which Rosa Parks was shut down. I think the total duration, because there were two separate altercations, I think the entire duration was probably around 45 minutes to an hour.
I would just like to say, apologies. I would just like to say, I would like to see better representation for as it gets colder, you know, not necessarily throughout every single day, every single season, but especially as it gets colder, to have a little bit more compassion for everybody. Because, you know, there's been certain enforcement through people who exist here to, you know, spread safety and promote peace and things of that nature. It seems kind of antagonistic in certain ways to how they will use certain methodologies to kind of persuade people who are genuinely trying to make it, so, you know, make it from point A to point B, and they don't have much more, you know, to go get to point B other than coming to the transit center and paying their fare and getting on the bus to go where they need to go. There's been a lot of times where, shoot, I just seen somebody, DPD had to be called in on an elderly man who didn't even know where he was going. He thought he was going to get on the Woodward bus. It was a DPD officer that told him he needs to get on the Grand River bus because nobody else even told him in the transit center working for the transit that he needed to be on the Grand River bus to even go where he needed to go. But the point is, you'll have situations where he would have been able to sit on the floor, but they called him out because he was not able to sit on the bench. He didn't want to sit on the bench. They called DPD to tell him to get up off the floor, and he didn't even know where he was going. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's more kindness and compassion for people, especially as it gets colder out. You know, I definitely wouldn't want to be outside having to wait for a bus if I could be in here waiting for the bus. You know, so.
Hello, can I be heard? Okay. Good evening, everybody.
First of all, I want to say thank you for holding this hybrid meeting. It's been a long time coming, so we're glad to be back in person. Also, thank you for listening to writers, with the removal of section 28 from the, code of conduct. But the concern that I have for my fellow bus riders, particularly as we move into this season and under this code of conduct, is will the officers that are in the metro unit or the transit unit be trained in CIT and disability training so that they can act with more compassion and be able to recognize when someone needs additional help and then be able to recommend them to the necessary services.
Yeah, I can't speak, I'm sorry. I can't speak specifically to DPD training, but I have to believe that with as much interaction as they have with the general public, that training is provided. One thing I do want to mention is one of the procurements that DDOT will be putting out in the not too distant future is for supplemental training for disability awareness, sensitivity training, and passenger assistance techniques. Initially, that training would be provided to operators, service providers that are going to be providing the DDOT Now same-day service. But if there's sufficient funding, and right now it would be a one-year pilot project, then we would open it up to additional drivers and any other individuals that may require that form of training.
So I do know that there is a unit of DPD that is trained in CIT. They have specialized officers. So what I'm asking is, are any of those specially trained officers going to be assigned to the metro unit, given the unique circumstances of transit?
And I'll be honest, I don't know the answer to that, but we will get you an answer to that.
Corey Holmes, Chief Safety Officer with DDOT. In conjunction with our unsheltered population, Captain Leonard's group, they're working hand in hand with my office to make sure we address those issues.
Hello there, Lucas Especially with Transportation Riders United. I'd first like to thank DDOT for hearing our concerns with section 28 and acting to alleviate those. We really do appreciate being heard and having our concerns met in such a way. There are a couple of other provisions in the new code of conduct ordinance that we would like to see revised, but we are working on developing detailed positions in contact with DDOT staff and city council to make sure that those issues are resolved. But thank you for hearing us out on this one. Yes. Overall, aside from the line items that we'd like to see revised, we do think that this new code of conduct ordinance is a positive step because we understand that ensuring that transit is safe for all is vital in ensuring that transit is useful for all, and that clear rules and effective enforcement are key steps to ensuring that transit system is safe and useful for all. So we think that overall this ordinance is a positive step, but we will be in touch more to iron out those smaller concerns now that the major one has been taken care of. But aside from that, I just want to, the last meeting of the year, sort of along the lines of what Rob was saying, give DDOT a little bit of praise, a pat on the back for all the wonderful improvements to the service that happened this year. I'm truly amazed everything that's happened just in 2024, how good the service has gotten, how it's more reliable and on time. There's still improvements to be made, but DDOT is really making good progress and we love to see it. And look forward to helping you get along.
to the question of the young lady, Sergeant Whitfield. If you could please come up, I would like to address the question there. If she has the question and the answer.
You put me on the spot, but good evening, everybody. I'm Sergeant Whitfield. I work at the transit unit. And the question was regarding CIT trained officers. Well, myself, the sergeant of the department, along with multiple people in the department, we are currently getting everyone, almost the entire department is trained in CIT. We have been trained in mental health first aid, and that's the first thing that that you have to take to do the CIT training. So the question to be answered correctly, half the unit is CIT trained, and everybody has had mental health first aid training. So we are well aware of our community and those that are suffering from mental illness and those that are in crisis. So we do have those resources for them, and if you don't have them, we will get them.
Thank you so much.
Hey.
Anybody else need me?
Okay, we are going to move now to our online virtual attending. Krista, I'm gonna turn it over to you as far as calling the next person. If for those in here, if you have not signed in, please do so.
Okay, the first hand raised is a number ending in 169. Okay, Stephen Doyle. Whoever can unmute themselves first, go ahead with your comment.
Hi, thank you for taking our comments online too. It's great to actually see a hybrid meeting working. I'm sorry I'm not there. The comments regarding trauma-informed care are very important, I believe. I also am hoping that this code of conduct protects persons that potentially could be facing the potential for deportation through this incoming administration is very real. And the fact that we have people that are not indigenous or citizens of this country on our buses, I think is a problem. We need to ensure that everyone has the access to public transit and that they're not going to be hunted by our people that are providing safety on the buses. And I don't know how to put that into the code of conduct such that people have protection. But I do appreciate Larry Burse's comment that yes, we need to have what's going in front of City Council put before the public so that the public can assist council in knowing what's in the proposal. Thank you.
Over to my phone.
I'll mute now. Thank you.
The next hand up is Betty Garner.
Good evening to all within the sound of my voice. I want to say kudos to Brother Cunningham for all the work that he does and the advocacy that he provides. And And thank you to all the people who work with him. I want to say thank you to the staff who listens to the people who are advocating for the rights for the people who ride the buses. Working together, we all can make a difference. It just shows when you have peaceful protests or advocacy, people will listen and you can work together. So kudos to all that are involved. Brother Cunningham, you and your people, y'all keep up the good work. It will only get better. Thank you for this time.
Thank you. Phone number ending in 169. It looks like you've unmuted yourself. You can make your comment now. Okay, if not, Ms. Marguerite, you're next.
Yes. Good evening. I wish I was there in person, but I have a very bad cold and I did not want people to get sick. So, I was listening and I would like more understanding of the proposal because there is some misinterpretation and for me, I've been riding that ever since I was 3 years old. So, but now I just celebrated my 69th birthday last week. And my question is that we need to find another spot for our canine partners to use the bathroom because anywhere around was supposed to does not have grass or dirt area. So please find a spot around consider where our assistant partner can use the bathroom. And we can about the ladies and restroom at Windsor Park. I was there about a couple of weeks ago, and there was somebody in there, and the ladies restroom that they're not in there, certain clothes. Certain clothes. So
Miss Marguerite.
Wait. I had worked that person got through within 20 minutes later. I'm done. Thank you.
Miss Marguerite, to clarify, you're asking about a relief area for your service dog?
Yes.
Are you speaking about Jason Hargrove or Rosa Parks or somewhere else?
Rosa Parks.
Rosa Parks.
Ms. Maddox, let me look into that. I'm not sure that there is a designated relief area for service animals. But I'll get some information on that and we'll get back to you. By the way, I hope your cold gets better.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Marguerite. Happy belated birthday.
Yes.
The next hand up is Mr. Davis.
Good evening. Can I be heard?
Yes, go ahead with your comment.
Okay, I'm a former elected Detroit Police Commissioner for District 7. I think that the department, y'all can easily post for people that have problems with the transit police, because I know a lot of them are not as familiar with those postings as they, that's a relatively new posting. But y'all could post on the buses and at the transit centers a way that if they have a complaint, that they can contact the police commission's complaint line, where they can make a complaint against an officer that could be investigated by the officer's chief investigator. Also, separately, had y'all thought about perhaps having like ridership ambassadors for each district, that maybe the city council could appoint somebody for each district and they could help to coordinate concerns and be an interface between the department and the other riders and the citizens of Detroit? Like I travel a lot because I'm president of a couple of organizations, and a lot of other municipalities and counties have better bus service. And I think Detroit's bus service has improved, but it could improve further. But I think you need to have a buy-in from the community more so. And I think you could do things to make that happen. Thank you.
Can I just respond to a couple of those things? And thank you for those questions. First of all, we recently installed QR codes on every one of the buses that will allow people to submit comments, lodge complaints, make observations anonymously. So please look for those on all the buses and take advantage of that opportunity. The other thing I'd like to mention is we do, DDOT does have a local advisory council that meets quarterly. We just met with them on Tuesday, and there are representatives from each one of the council districts. So there is input from each of the districts. They can address not only fixed route issues, but also paratransit issues and any concerns in general.
Oh, I was unaware of that. Yeah, do y'all post the individuals for each district?
Yeah, that info. I think is there a link to the LAC on the website?
It is.
There is a link to the local advisory council on the website. So I know that at this last LAC meeting, some of the members were finishing up their term in office, and there are some new members coming on board. But please look at that link. It's the local advisory council, and you can see who the representatives are from the various councilmanic districts.
Good.
Okay, thank you. And the next one up is KCP.
Can I be heard?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. This is Casey Peller. I put my comment in the chat, but did want to read verbally. I'm just wondering what the department has to say around increasing the budget, if we're anticipating another large increase as we did last year. We know that with more funding, we can have more buses, cleaner buses, safer buses. We can have better stops with safe shelters and benches. We can raise the wages and benefits for drivers, mechanics, and customer service reps. We could keep our legacy drivers, the safest ones on the road, have the most experience. We could see DDOT Reimagine implemented in the next few years and stop losing jobs and income tax dollars. We can spend more time doing what we want or need to do versus figuring out how we can get there on time. And I just want to say thanks to have this hybrid meeting tonight. It's a lot easier as a mom of a toddler, especially as we're getting into the winter months. So thank you for holding it hybrid tonight. And I hope that future input meetings can also remain hybrid. Thanks.
I don't want to preempt the budget process. We've just begun the preliminary preparations on the fiscal year 2026 budget, which will begin on July 20th of 2025. Most of you know that we've been engaged for the last year in a service restoration plan that will continue to go forward. That requires additional transit equipment operators. And there's also expected increased demand for the paratransit service, given the fact that it's now operating at over 97%. So again, I don't want to preempt the budget process, but there are some things in the works.
Great, thank you. Phone number ending in 169. Are you able to make your comment? If not, Mr. Foster is next.
Good evening. I just had a few things. I appreciate Mr. Cunningham and his advocacy, but the few things I wanted to talk about, the policy that you guys make. I think it should go in effect when the quality of transportation is enhanced. A couple other additions to policies I would like to see is policies that keep passengers safe from negligent drivers, as well as veterans. Perhaps give free bus rides like they do in the other counties, the tri-counties here. Secondly, I wanted to talk about the weather's changing here and why it's very important to get these buses on time. Historically, there's a rise in carjackings and auto theft and people taking cars when people are warming their cars up or leaving them unattended at gas stations. I bring it up because transportation plays a role in crime. If people in the community could rely on on-time transportation, then that may decrease carjackings and auto thefts within our community. It's imperative that we get transportation on time, and I would like to know what is the bottom line that is actually preventing that. Ms. Cunningham been advocating for quite some time. I'm down to city council every day. I know all the budgets, I know all the promotions and everything else. And so my question is, what is the bottom line of getting it on time? These people, our community, our citizens, some are disadvantaged. Poverty plays a role in it. If they can afford to buy a car, then they would. And just the mere fact that they cannot already in a disadvantaged situation and then don't know when buses are coming. Now, I ask you guys to have some empathy and think about that yourselves, and then think about the role that it plays in crime in our community, and let's make a change. And I appreciate you all for listening.
If I can just make a couple comments in response. Most of you know, recently we've been fortunate enough to have a new deputy director for operations and maintenance, Anastasia Rojo. He's been working very diligently on service reliability. So some of the things that he's been involved in is reworking our service monitoring scheme out in the service area, as well as working with the command center on service monitoring. We've seen some recent improvements in on-time performance. Most of you know our service standard is 85%. We still have ways to go on that. but we're working diligently, as I said, to improve on-time performance on the street, as well as having more vehicles available on any given day for service.
Thank you. Brian, your hand is the next one up.
Hello, this is Brian. I represent Sierra Club. I'm also a member of resident of Detroit in District 5. I just want to point everyone to a chart that was linked in the chat here to a Transportation Riders United webpage that just shows really clearly that Detroit ranks last in funding of public transit among all major metro areas. It's really important to emphasize this because Detroit deserves to be higher than last place in transit funding, especially because we are uniquely burdened with the need for public transit, given the high costs of car insurance and other obstacles to car ownership. Public transit's an issue of social and economic justice, and underfunding, or being the lowest funded transit system in the country for comparable cities, is a profound injustice to our communities. So we really need to start thinking, widening the scope of what we can start imagining and leveraging all possible funding mechanisms, and being creative about it, because there has to be a systemic change in our outlook for what kind of funding is possible. The status quo has to change. We can't just continue with incremental increases. The increments have to get large, however that is possible. So I just advise everybody, look at the graph. You know, the graph speaks for itself. It shows where we rank. That needs to change. Thanks.
Thank you. That's all the comments online. We do have a few links in the chat for the LAC if you want more information on that. Was there anyone in here who had not had a chance to speak? No. Would you like? Okay. Because I think out of fairness, I don't think we wouldn't have time to go through everyone. So are you okay with closing? I think out of fairness, we would not have time to go through.
Yeah. Again, I would just like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. For those of you that joined us virtually, we appreciate your presence as well. Thank you to Marketing and Outreach and Media Services. I think the test drive was successful, and we look forward to seeing everybody in January of 2025 at the next community input meeting. So thank you very much, everybody. And thank you for reminding me.
Anybody like any free gloves?
I'm gonna turn that off just because we have the thank you up. Leave that up for a minute.
All right, you shut out the Zoom.